and welcome back to the Geophagus Garage channel. Today we are doing this for celebration since we reached 100 subscribers.
Yay! Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here at the Geophagus Garage channel. We're certainly glad you're here. Today is maintenance day. Not a fun topic, but we got to get it done. So today what we're going to do is we are going to go in here and we are going to get all of the aquarium filters and we're going to clean them out, and we're going to show you how to do that. I know it doesn't sound super fun, it's not the most engaging thing, but if you have a question out there about these canister filters, if you're wondering about them, how they work, or how hard it is to maintain them or put them back on, let me show you how ridiculously easy it is to maintain these filters. You ready? Let's get started. Take the bucket.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Polar Aurora canister filter, which, by the way, in my opinion, this filter offers the best value out of all the canister filters that I've seen out there. It's a 4-stage filter. Canister filter comes with a UV sterilizer light. I don't know, for like 70, 80 bucks, personally, I don't think you can beat it. I was a Fluval fan for years, and I've got the Fluval 406. We'll do that one second, but let's go ahead and get this canister filter out here, this Polar Aurora one, and we'll start with that. So, the first thing that you want to do is come in here and turn the power off to the canister filter. And on this one, you simply unplug it. Once you unplug the canister filter, your control valve sits right here on this Polar Aurora filter. So there's a lever, you just want to pull it up all the way. That turns off the siphon that comes from the return, or it comes from the intake into this tubing and into the canister. So when you pull this up, it turns this valve off. Turns it off so you can literally just take it out nice and easy. Just like that. You're going to see a little bit of water is going to drip, but that's okay. And then there you have it. That filter is turned off from the flow of water coming into it. And of course we already unplugged it, which is what you want to make sure you do. So we'll just let that sit over here out of the way because we're going to come back and we don't need to do anything with that. Now that the control valve is off and the filter is unplugged, we can just grab it and carry it over to our table.
So what we have right here is our filter that we got, and yeah, it's just our filter.
And we're going to clean it?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna clean the filter.
Not the most fun part of the job, huh?
Wait, what? It's not fun.
It's not the most fun part of the hobby.
Okay.
But it has to be done, right?
Yeah, it has to be done.
Okay. So this canister filter got a little dusty underneath there, but we'll go and we'll wipe all this off when we're ready to do that. But right now, with this filter, it goes like this. You have to unlock it with these two clamps, one in the front, one in the back. And then these two levers on the side, these lift the power head off the canister. So I anticipate a little bit of water. We'll do it slowly. And then pick it straight up because you've got that UV light that goes down through the trays. You see the UV light right there, the bulb? There we go.
I see it.
Wow, is this dirty?
Holy.
All right. So we'll
let that. So dirty.
We'll let that drain. Now we just start taking the trays out. There's 4 trays in here. They are very dirty. You want to take one out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on a minute.
I have to reach my hand in the dirty, filthy. Oh, this is heavy.
Careful. Yeah, it's heavy. Let the water drain inside there. All right, move to the side a little bit so people can see on the camera.
Yep, pulled this out all by myself.
You did. Yep, look at that. Okay, so this is pretty yucky. So we're going to just set it over here. Okay. And because I got to carry this filter over to the sink to rinse it out and clean it, I happen to have this siphon here very handy. So I'm just going to take some of this water out of this filter to make it easier to reach down there and grab the crap without getting all nasty.
Ooh, I want to try this.
So we're just going to siphon some of the water out.
I can feel the
the gunk going through the siphon.
Yeah, this is pretty nasty. Pull it up nice and slow. Nice and slow, and then let it drain. And do you know what these are? This is all of our charcoal. When Daddy puts fresh charcoal in, I put them in these bags. Matter of fact, let's just take one of these bags out now because we're going to rinse them real good. So we'll just put it down here for now. All right, let me see. Good job. So these are our charcoal bags. We'll just pull them out. They're pretty yucky. So we have the 4 trays out of the canister, and it is yucky dirty, so we are definitely going to clean this up. Here's the deal. I remember what I did now with this canister filter because I'm running 2 of them. This is the one that I used that Biochem Zorb to get the tannins out of the water, and that worked great. And that was a long time ago. So I'm going to replace the Biochem Zorb bags that I have here that are just fairly gross. So I'm going to replace these because I think they're only good for 3 months, and I've had them in here a lot longer than that. So we're going to get all this cleaned up. And then we'll just we'll rinse the filter bags and we'll get some new media in here and we'll get this thing cranking. All right, let's just start with this easy stuff here. That's what your canister filter looks like inside. The trays just stack like that, and all your media is inside of those. So we're going to set them down in here. And I can tell you what I noticed in here is the amount of sand that this filter has picked up from that substrate that I have. I just have a sand substrate, and it is definitely all through this filter. We're going to turn some water on. We're going to rinse all of this stuff off. I'm just going to rinse these charcoal bags off. I'm going to rinse these till they run clean. So now we get to rebuild our filter. Let's clean this out first. I'm going to go back and just kind of rinse this off with a little brush that I have. I'm going to rinse it and use a little brush just to get this loose crap off of here. Why not? And I'm going to clean out this canister as well because it's disgusting. I didn't film it, but what I did is I went over and I took this canister part and I just rinsed it out real good in the utility sink. So that's fairly clean. It had a lot of sand in the bottom of it. That's the disadvantage of using that fine sand, is that sometimes the filters pick it up, but I rinsed it out, it's all good. I cleaned off this top plate as well. We have the UV sterilizer light, and then here's where your impeller is. And I also make it a habit of opening this up, and I pull this impeller out, and then I just clean that off as well. So it comes out just like that. This is a big magnet. This was all coated in slime and green stuff, so we just, I take a quick little brush and I clean that up, and then you just put it right back in, right where it goes. And you take the top, make sure the middle is on the top. You line up the slots here. Line up the slots, which are right here. And then you just twist it back in place, and it stays on there. So that's all clean. This is clean. Now let's get our filter trays back together. So at this point in the video, I know what some of you guys are thinking. That guy should have never rinsed that stuff off under the chlorine in the tap water in the utility sink. And you're right. If I was putting that all back in there, I wouldn't have done that. I did rinse my charcoal bags off, and that's just personal preference. I did that. But I wasn't trying to maintain the bacteria load in this filter. If you go back and look at one of my other videos, the one where I used the Biochem Zorb, this filter was set up specifically to take out the tannins that were in that 150 when I had the manzanita wood in there. And let me tell you something, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. That Biochem Zorb works amazingly if you've got some brownish tea-colored water from the type of wood that you put in there. I mean, the Biochem Zorb stuff, in my opinion, I don't get paid for any of this crap. I do this for fun, believe it or not. But that stuff works amazingly. And you're only supposed to leave it in there for 3 months before you change it out and put new stuff in. I left it in there forever, I mean almost a year. And my aquarium water still looks beautiful. Of course, I did take out the manzanita sometime after that and went with just a regular aquarium aquascape, but blah, blah, blah. So anyway, my point is this. Now that I'm going to put this filter back together, now I'm going to set it up to carry a bacterial load. So, and to be a polisher, and to be, a filter to dechlorinate the water and take all the chemicals out of the water with the charcoal. But I've got 4 trays to do that in. So stick with me. Let me show you how I set it up, my preference. Some of you guys may not agree with it, and that's okay. That's the whole part about being in this hobby, is you get to do what you want to do and what works best for you and your experience. Let me show you mine. Stick around. The first thing I need to do is come in here and get into my bulk supply. So I have these coarse media filter pads, and I have the fine media filter pads. I like to put the coarse in the bottom of the canister. So let's say this is going to be my bottom tray. So what I do is I just throw this in here like this. These are pre-cut to fit. You just throw them in like this. Tuck it down on there, just like that. So you've got your first coarse filter media in there. Now I need some biomedia, right? Oh, I don't have enough. Crap. So I only have 1 bag of bio rings left. I'm going to use them anyway. I'm going to run them over and rinse them off real quick. Okay, I rinse these off because they're dusty as heck. And then I'm just going to go ahead and open them out of this bag. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to throw them out of this bag and just throw them in here.
Candy!
It's not candy, it's ceramic. So that's not enough for me or how I like it, but I'm out of this. So now I got to think of what can I use next. I've got something in mind, but let me make sure it's where I left it last summer, outside. Stick with me, I'll be back. All right, let me see. What did I do with those? Let me see. Did I? Even though I don't have enough of these bio rings, I have enough to cover the bottom of this tray, but I really want this thing to be loaded up here. So, and this is what the bacteria sticks to. The good beneficial bacteria grows on these bio rings, right? So they need like cracks and crevices and things of that nature so they can attach to and reproduce, and that way you'll have a good amount of beneficial bacteria that combats that ammonia level and the nitrite level. And then the end of that is the nitrates that you suck out with a water change, right? So that's our whole goal, is to get ourselves some good filtration. Now, here's the lava rocks that I had outside. I boiled them so they're nice and clean, in my opinion. Clean enough to go into an aquarium a canister filter. So what I want is I want this to be full. So right on top of these bio rings, I'm just going to add these lava rocks. I mean, they're perfect. They're so porous and rough. This is great. I've used these in the past. Matter of fact, I'm running them in one of these filters right now. I forget which one I'm running them on, but I'm not bragging, but all of these aquariums are friggin' spotless. Crystal clear water. I don't know. I figure something's got to be going right, right? So stick to what I know. That'll be perfect right there. I still have some left over. So that's that tray. Now, so we have our coarse filter pad down here. This is what's going to collect all the thick stuff, right? I'm going to put this in the bottom. I'm going to put my media, my biomedia, as a second tray, like that. And then here, I'm going to use this recycled charcoal bags that I have. So these can go right in here. Is this snug enough down? Let me make sure that these fit real well. Perfect, perfect. I'm going to put this on top of that one. That gives me my charcoal bags. And now I have one last empty tray. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this fine filter media. I'll use this as my last. This is my polishing pad, so we'll use this as the last. Because remember, the water goes down and gets filtered up through. So it's actually, the first tray the water hits is tray number 1, and then it kind of comes up through all 4 trays. And this will be the last tray that it passes through before it gets pumped back into the aquarium. So I'm going to put that fine polishing pad right there. And just because I have it and I've got the stuff, I'm going to mix up a couple more bags of this bulk activated charcoal. Why not? You can't have too much, in my opinion. So I'm going to do that, and that'll give us a good coverage, I think. I have these bags that I bought. Let's just open them up. Let's see what size these are. I don't know. I don't remember. Well, that's a pretty big one. Perfect. I'm going to use the charcoal that's in here to fill this bag. I'll be right back. Alright, so I made this charcoal bag, and then the most important thing you have to do with these is make sure you rinse them off. So I rinsed this really good, got all the nasty dust off. You'd be surprised how much comes out. And then you can just cinch this bag up just like that. Cinch it up. That's a wrap. Flatten it out the best you can. Make sure it's going to fit under here. It is. So tie that nice and tight like this. I want this to stay cinched. So this is what it looks like. This will be our top layer. All right, that'll go in like that. Let's pull these all out so you can see. All right, we're gonna do this one more time. First is the coarse filter media. We want that. Second is the bio rings and the biomedia where the good beneficial bacteria will attach and grow to. We want that in there. Then I want it to pass through this charcoal. This takes all the toxins out of the water, all the chlorine. So we're going to put that in there. And then on the last one, on here, I've got another coarse media pad in here, and then I've got a fine polishing pad on top. And this is the last tray that the water will have contact with before it hits the tank. So we're going to put that in there like that. And I do have a little bit of extra room here, so I could take these charcoal bags and I could just kind of throw them on top here. Let me see if these will fit, because it doesn't hurt to have too much charcoal. That's no big deal. If I can get this to fit down on there correctly, like so, yeah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So let's just do that. We'll add the last of our charcoal here. We'll put it like this. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that combination. So that goes like that. And then it goes like this. The light bulb slides down through the holes. This goes on. These clamps come up. This clamp comes up. Push it down. It pulls the whole thing down. Locks it on. It's good to go. Just like that. Now, I got all dirty again because my hands are dirty. I'm just going to wipe it off real quick. There it is. Nice and clean. Now let's get this over to the aquarium. Plug this in last. Don't plug it in yet. And then you take your controller, which is right here, bring it over, push it back down gently, and when you do that, push this valve back, this lever, and that turns the flow on. All right. So there is a primer bulb on this. You just press it down. And you see the air coming out of here. As the water gets sucked up, comes down into the canister filter, starts to fill from the bottom, it's going to push all that air out. And that's what those air bubbles are. Once that canister is full, the water has pushed all the air out. It's nice and heavy. Now we can plug it in. And that's it. The filter's back together. It's running good. You're gonna hear some air come out of it until it gets settled. But it'll be fine in just a few minutes. It'll be running perfectly. And it's already running quietly. So just a little bit of air bubbles will continue to come out again until all that air gets forced out of the canister itself. But you'll notice that the water drops down a little bit in the aquarium. So we're gonna top this back off. One of the things that you never want to do, and I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, these aquariums do need water changes, right? We change them, in my case, I change them once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes once every 3 weeks, depending on what we're doing. But I religiously change the water to keep the nitrate level down and to keep these things nice and clean. So the one thing that you never want to do a water change and clean the filter at the same time. Why? Because when you change the water and you change the filters at the same time, there's a risk that you take too much of that beneficial bacteria, the good bacteria that helps to break down that ammonia, turn it into nitrite and then into nitrate, which you take out with the water changes. There's too big of a risk that you might take too much of that beneficial bacteria out, and now you're kind of in trouble because your tank needs to cycle again, and that puts your fish at risk of well, really stress and even death. So we don't want to do that. Next time I do this, now that I've got it set up with the bio rings and the volcano rock to use as biofiltration, now that I've got that set up, I won't rinse those again under that water. What I'll do is I'll take a bucket, I'll use the aquarium water that's in here, I'll rinse that stuff off in the 5-gallon bucket that's full of this aquarium water. I'll take it over, I'll set it aside, I'll clean the rest of the filter, I'll clean the rest of it just like I did, I'll put it all back together. But I want my biological filter media to stay healthy, if you will. I don't want to kill any of that beneficial bacteria off. So that's the difference. I hope this was helpful. I hope you can see that these canister filters are just really no big deal. I saw a post on Facebook the other day where somebody was inquiring about, canister filters and are they easy to maintain, or they've never had one before. And I was the same way. I always had hang on the back or hob filters for years. And then I discovered these canister filters and I'm like, why didn't I do this years ago? So in my personal opinion, they're great filters. I used to spend big money on filters too, the canister filters. I bought all the Fluval products. I still have a few here for $300 or more. And then I found this great deal on these Polar Aurora canister filters. Fraction of the price, I mean a fraction of the price, and they do a great job. So anyway, that's my story. Thanks for tuning in. If you've been here this long, give yourself a thumbs up. You certainly earned it. And maybe consider subscribing to the channel over here, or check out some of our other videos over here. And as always, listen, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time on the Geophagus Garage channel.